We'll get started. We can, fill her in, because I just want to have a discussion up front. I guess when we left it in April, where was we didn't know, everything's changing day to day. We didn't know what, the future would bring, so we had to meet because there was some, pending addresses, houses being built, electric companies, utility companies needing the addresses, homeowners needing an address. So we met to do that and brought it to the select board. And then we kind of said, well, let's take May off and reconvene in June to see what everything's like. And here we are with the agenda, and there's nothing that we have to do, like, pending right now. And my thought, I'll just throw it out there, was, I don't want to bring anything to the select board at this point to, have public hearings and change addresses, in this time. I think people have enough to worry about without their numbers getting changed, unless there's like a really, serious public safety issue that, police and fire have identified that, that should be corrected. But outside of those, I don't want to bring anything forward, just routine to the select board, like not routine, but in this, what the state audit recommends, until, at some point in the future. I don't know what. So maybe I was thinking we just kind of hold off until either A, we have something pending, something that needs to be done like we had last time, or some, safety issue that's identified by public safety, because I don't want to, we could move forward and kind of pile up recommendations, and then when the select board's ready to hear them again, we'll move them forward. But I don't really like that. I like the way we do it is like, make a recommendation and then bring it to the select board, so it's fresh in my mind and I don't have to, refresh myself on it. So just looking for thoughts on anyone else, how anyone else feels on that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think, I'm good. I don't see anything out there that's of immediate concern. I think all the new subdivisions, new homes on Hampton Road, Acorn, and Thistle, and all those subdivisions are all taken care of, which I think you were alluding to, Dave, that we got those all taken care of. So unless, Justin, you have something that you feel is a priority, I kind of agree with Dave.
Yeah, I'm fine. I still have, I'd like to get eventually, I get not changing people's stuff, but if we could at least get, I would love to get South Street and River Street at least done on paper, so that when we do want to go back to changing stuff, because the board already approved all that. So we don't need to go back to the board with the South Street, River Street reconfiguring. I'd like to at least get that part of it done and sat off to the side, so when the day comes, we don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. And that just requires, I know we spoke about it a couple times, I thought I was going to have a light duty guy to do this, but he ended up being in dispatch the whole time because we were short dispatchers. I need to know how many apartments there are. So we talked about 10 South Street apartments, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know how to find that information, and that's something I'd ask for help with. Just if someone could come back to me with what, all I need to know is a street number and the amount of units that are in it, and then I'll appropriately do the addressing.
You want the existing street numbers, and how many units at that location?
Correct. Because if I have that, then I can go forward and I can actually, because I also created a spreadsheet, old to new addresses with the unit numbers, so that when I do send the stuff to the post office and the utilities, they actually have the appropriate apartment numbers that are there. If I have that, I can do because I think, Dave, you've already done the addressing, the new addressing. I just need to know what's out there for existing multifamilies that I can make sure, because Park Street was an eye-opener for me, so I don't want to relive that experience and making a bunch of mistakes. So that's that. But I also want to mention, obviously, it doesn't have to get done right now. I know it's part of a bigger project, but I just wanted to make sure we're all aware, and I copied you on that the state has definitely put us on notice about the Donna Drive, Linden Street issue. So I replied to the state and copied you guys on an email a couple days ago. So we went to an ambulance call or a call out of 2 Donna Drive, and 2 Donna Drive is actually on Linden Street. It's not on Donna Drive. And the state picked up on it and sent us an email hey, by the way, you have a non-conforming address. You responded to a 911 call to, I think it was 2 Donna Drive. and Donna Drive is clearly not on Donna Drive, it's clearly on Linden Street. So I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of that project. The state obviously is reaching out now, continuing to remind us it's a problem. Our map looks fine. So, go ahead, Dave.
So do you want to address that one? I mean, like that's what I was thinking. I was thinking immediate safety concerns, or like those. I mean, what does it entail? Does it entail just renumbering one structure, or
no,
it's like a chain reaction?
Yes, I think we said Vintage Way. I think we said we go from Vintage Way all the way out to essentially Kimball Road to the end of Powder Mill Road and renumber. So it's going to require.
Oh, it's part of this.
Yes.
That's part of that. Okay.
A much bigger project. So that's the problem, is that it's not. There's no way to fix those addresses without doing that complete change. So I'm fine with our map books are accurate that we keep, that are done by Drew Martin in-house. So I'm fine with it right now. I just want to make sure it's on our radar. Like, I know we've been working on this for a while, that we really need to get that piece done. And I know Doug and I took a ride out a couple weeks ago, and I took a bunch of pictures of Dow Lane, because that's not straightforward either. And Dave, you did numbering for it, but since you did numbering, there is a new trailer that was squeezed in between a couple other ones that we found that were out there. And then
on what street are we talking?
This would have been, it might have been on the Robin Hood extension side, actually.
Yeah, it was Dow. Yeah,
it was on
Dow extension. Yeah.
Yeah, there should be. The way I numbered it, I would be shocked if there's no numbers available, that we proposed. Because there was definitely a lot of numbers available on that street.
There wasn't. So what it was, I think it was in the Robin Hood extension side, and when we walked it, it went, for example, to 12 to 14, I don't know what it was, and there was no number available for that. So I made a bunch of notes and scribbled them on the map that we had, so I need to get that over to you at some point. And also they have a lot, like a single lot, they're going to potentially have 4 mobile homes on. So I just need to get a hold of Kenny Lynn. I just wanted her to give me her direction on numbering it, so I do it right the first time. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that, because I knew about that 4 homes, and I thought we definitely had all numbers for those 4, maybe even like 5 or 6 numbers available there.
Okay, well,
we had numbers.
All right, if you're back in the office, why don't we just make a point for just you and I sit down one day over the next week or 2 or something, and I'll bring over the notes I took from that day, and I can just show it to you, and we can just come up with the numbers.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then I have all the information. I'll get you that information before we meet on River and South, and I can do that pretty easily. So I'll work on that right away.
Yeah, then I can get that done. I'll get all the stuff in writing. I'll set it off to the side, and then when we're ready as a committee, and when the board and Wally is ready for us to bring stuff forward again for changing addresses, then I'll push it forward then. But at least I'll have all the legwork done ahead of time. So.
Perfect. Sounds good.
So do we have a drawn out plan showing, those lots on Dow and Robin Hood, which homes are going to get what numbers? Do we have a plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. I'd like a copy of that too, because I just want to make sure that, those 4 units, and, but yeah, I'd like to see that, Justin.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was distributed at a meeting, but we have them. I mean.
Okay, I may even have them. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I know Barb should have a copy. I know Barb has a copy of it in the file. We looked at it last time, I think.
Okay.
So we can get that out.
All right.
Certainly.
Okay. And that was one of the ones where I think we ended up sticking with Scarlet Lane. So I think that, I don't believe the board ever voted on that. So that will be something for a road name change they're going to have to approve at some point. But same thing, I can get the legwork done at least for Dow Lane, and when we're ready to go back and change people's addresses, I can have it ready to go.
So what happened at the select board meeting? They were supposed to vote on Hampton Road?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's just the 25. That was the Seacoast Family Promise.
The two condos at the front.
Yeah, Lang Plummer came forward. Yeah, I went out, I took a look at it. I didn't realize it was just a house. It's just they turned it into a duplex. So
correct.
So I went out, I got a hold of the state, because initially I think I sent an email last week about we actually voted on to be Unit 1 and Unit 2. The state only likes us to use numericals for floors, so they wanted alpha. So we came to the conclusion last week that Dave said that it doesn't need to go back for approval again. It was because we have the ability to do new addressing, but they needed to approve the voluntary address change, which they did approve last night. So I just got to get that documentation sent out.
Okay.
But that's already done too. That was an easy one.
Okay, good. So, anything else?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I just assume, hold off on those things and just I'll meet separately with Justin about South Street and Dow Lane, and I think we just hold off until, the select board is back, back and ready to, or we feel comfortable bringing things to the select board and having public hearings about, the changes the state makes. I don't know when that is, but,
okay,
it's
so
not today. I don't.
Okay, so if I'm hearing what we're saying is then going forward, we're just going to try to give as much notice as possible. We're not going to have our monthly meetings. We'll meet as needed going forward until everything's settled and we go back to routine monthly meetings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, the benefit. I mean, we could meet, but I don't know if we're very specific on what we're doing. We're taking the state's audit, what they're suggesting, and we're deliberating them. And then, if we recommend something, we're going to the select board to get it changed. Okay. And I just don't feel it's, the right time to do that. I think people have enough to deal with and, enough going on in their lives than to worry about an address change at this point. We've made it this far. I know it's for safety, and I know it's safer once we change it, but maybe we can just hold off. I'm willing to hold off for a little bit until, we're in a better place to move forward with the select board. And
so Justin, is there any way, those two houses or those two manufactured homes right after the convenience store out there, Deep Meadow Variety, is there anything we can do temporarily to identify that they are on Linden Street so that your guys know?
Well, that's why, we have our map book is pretty clear. So if you look up, Bob Irish did it before he left many years ago, started the way we do it. It's based on roads. So the way we look it up is a little bit different, but it's a hand done map. So we have a map guy that does it. So our map books are good. It's just confusing, especially at nighttime. It makes it a little bit more of a challenge, but no, I think it's been like that forever. I think we're pretty familiar where Donna Drive is. So it's just those two units out front. Unfortunately, what happened is that, remember, it was out of sequence numbering. So it's not like I can even slap a number on it temporarily. And I wouldn't want to do that and change it again anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess that was my question, but I certainly understand. So.
It just was one of those things. I wanted to make sure, and it was really more for Molly's sake. I wanted her to see some of the correspondence from the state that we get. That came to I think it came to I don't know, it was just me and Jesse and Deputy Monk, I think. I don't even know who was on the email initially, so I wanted to make sure, actually, I think Dave was on it, so I wanted to make sure I copied the committee as well as Molly, so that she could understand that, it's the state comes to us with an identified issue and puts us on notice, and I'm sure that was probably already in our audit, but once we're put on notice, we have some obligation to bring it up and at least
Is there some liability thing they
I don't
put on notice?
Well, no, I don't know if there's. Well, yeah, I think there always is, because they when we first started doing this, they handed out the the different litigation that took place out in Swansea, New Hampshire, back in the early 2000s. I just used that one because there was an addressing issue that was brought to the attention of the Board of Selectmen at the time for Swansea. They chose not to do anything about it. The person had a fire on the affected road and lost their house, and they successfully were able to litigate, getting a new home from the town of Swansea because they chose not to follow through on a recommendation from the state. So they can't make us, but honestly, we just did 12R Front Street. That's a non-conforming address as well. I'd already spoken to her about it, and she said, no, you can't do that. And I said, well, we don't really have a choice, so it's going to be 12R Front Street. So they can make recommendations for something like that, but they can't force us to. But it's just, we need to know where our streets and numbers are. So I'm not losing any sleep over it. I think we're doing a great job. We've made this town a lot safer by what we've done. So I just think
I think we'll certainly have not ignored their recommendations. And
oh, that's for sure.
Working closely with them for the last 2 years, and they can't say that we have been not doing our jobs, because we've changed a lot in this town. No,
and I think 12R Act, for me and for the edification of the law enforcement of the fire, that it makes way more sense. I'm going to pull in the exact same driveway as 12 Front Street.
Yeah.
So I think 12R made better sense to me than 14, because I'd be looking for the building next door, not necessarily see that building outside.
Exactly.
So
yep. No, that was a good decision. I like that.
So,
And then just to get on that about, I agree with Justin on the Linden Street, because the temporary, you could give them the address that they were going to be in the renumbering, but that would be a duplicate. They would be duplicate addresses, so you can't do that. And they'd be out of sequence, so you can't do that. Instead of like, okay, we're not going to affect, multiple properties, we're just going to give these the number that they would get, but we can't do that because it would be a duplicate number or out of sequence.
Yeah. It's already out of sequence out there, so it would be worse out of sequence. So
probably best to leave it the way it is for right now.
For right now.
Yeah, and if it weren't for the current situation, the pandemic, I think we'd be continuing to move forward with the recommendations just as we did when we first got them and hit the ground running and kept going to the select board and making the changes and got through all the street name changes. So I think we want to and we will. I just think, we might, just take a little pause until, further notice, until we feel comfortable about going back to the select board and having, public hearings, because we want people to come out and give us their input and so forth. So I don't know, that it's a good time to do that right now.
So do we need to vote on that, Dave, or do we just, is this good?
I think a consensus is in order, because, things change, and, it'd just be up to me as the chair to call the next meeting, and any of you can contact me. I just think we end this meeting with the understanding that we'll reconvene, when appropriate or if necessary.
Okay. All right. My vote, yes.
Yeah. We don't need us. I think. Okay.
Okay.
We'll vote. Everyone's yes. Everyone's agreed. Okay. So I guess anybody else with anything?
All set here.
Okay. If everyone's okay with it, I'll just look for a meeting to adjourn, and then I'll get together with Justin over the next week or two.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn is made and seconded. Anybody, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Aye.